first question that we have for today is from Sam from Washington, D.C. And Sam asks, why do women have a stronger power of prayer? Are there any men who can pray better than women? And how can we strengthen our power of prayer?
All right. Everybody heard the question? The power of the woman is to be a recipient, what a mekabel, to be a concave vessel. That I possess nothing of my own, and everything that I possess is given to me from above. Just like we read a week ago in the Torah, Moses himself, when he prayed to God, he actually prayed 515 prayers to enter the land of Israel. His prayers were not answered because it was just still the exile. Prayers will be answered with the coming of Mashiach. It's not easy to pray, but the greatest prayer, it says, is the prayer that one recognizes that I do not deserve in the right of my good deeds anything. Everything is a gratis gift from God. And a receiver is able to pray. And a woman is a receiver, so a man also has that power. Because there's inter-inclusion. A man has his female aspect to him, his receiver aspect to him. A woman, when she goes out now, especially in our generation, and teaches Torah to other women, she has her male aspect to her. Each one has to manifest both aspects. But the feminine aspect per se is the experience of a receiver. And the receiver is what is the power of prayer to draw down from above, because Hashem falls in love with a true receiver and does whatever he is asked to.
Okay, we have a question from Rivka from Toronto, and she asks, can the Rav give some practical tips on how to be more attentive and see divine providence?
So as we said before, before we pray every day, we should meditate. And part of the meditation is also in meditation to, as it were, pray that Hashem opens my eyes, and today I want to see your divine providence in my life and everything around me. If that prayer of the heart is sincere, not we'll say something that we didn't explain before. There are prayers of the lips that are actually audible. There's also the prayer of the heart, which is not always audible. And it says, Ta'avat Anavim, a person who is modest and humble, which is also to be a concave receptacle. Even if he just desires something in his heart, that is enough. He doesn't even have to say it with his lips. So, if a person in his heart always, when he walks down the street, he has this receptacle in his heart to receive insight and to see divine providence, he will be shown some divine providence. That's all. Every step that he takes, he'll see divine providence.
Before we take another question, I'd just like to remind people that it's not too late. You can still ask your questions by sending them via the link on the homepage of the shiur. If you send them quickly, we'll still get them in today. Manny from Los Angeles asks a very interesting and appropriate question. He asks, is it easier to see divine providence in Israel? I'm having problems in LA.
Well, you can see divine providence also in LA, whatever you happen to be, but it says, as we just read yesterday in the Torah, that the land of Israel is the land that the eyes of God look at first, and from his providence, the eyes of God means his providence, that the providence is first revealed in the land of Israel, and from there it spreads to the whole world. So definitely you can pick it up in the whole world, but first it shows itself here.
Okay, we have a question from Miami from Michael, who asks, how can one learn Kabbalah if they don't know Hebrew?
It's also a very, very good question. The advice is to learn Hebrew as fast as you can. but it doesn't mean that if you don't know Hebrew, you can't learn Kabbalah at all. You definitely can learn concepts from Kabbalah and Chassidut, even if you do not yet know Hebrew. But certainly, if you want to understand in depth, you have to study and learn Hebrew.
Hi, Rabbi. My name is Mark. I may have missed the part of your drasha. You may have addressed this already, but you talked about how Moshe Rabbeinu fought with Og and slew him close up, and David HaMelech threw the rock at a distance. Did you mention how Mashiach will potentially slay Amielus?
Right, so that was actually the
distance.
The point, that it was even more non-local, because it's just by prayer.
So it's very close.
No, very far.
Very far.
Very far.
Okay, so the next point of my question then.
The very far is very close because it's non-local. Just like God is all over, so when you pray to God, it's also all over.
Okay. The proximity by which it's fought, the battle is fought, usually defines the superiority of the power. So when you're really close, it's easier, per se, to effect than when you're further away. And yet you mentioned that Moshe Rabbeinu fought a much bigger giant than David HaMelech. How does that equate to the giant that Mashiach will be fighting?
Sometimes, even the sages say sometimes a little animal can win a big, tremendous animal. Moses was much smaller than Og physically. And Moses, even his fear was not that he was a physical giant. His fear is that he had some merit from having served Abraham many, many years before. So he thought that he had some merit. Because of that, he was a little bit afraid, or much afraid of it. But he fought him himself, and he was little, and when he jumped up, he just reached to his knee, or even below the knee, and you can kill from a small person can kill a big person. So it said that relatively, physically, he was small, but he killed him with a sword.
Okay, and
how does one not just see divine providence, but is a creator of God's divine providence?
That's exactly what we're trying to speak about, the power of prayer. The messianic prayer is our involvement and our arousal of divine providence to reveal itself. That's the power of prayer.
so someone from Chutz La'aretz that didn't tell us a name or a place asked us, what are the dangers of looking at pornography, and what does the Torah recommend we do in order to solve and to stay away from these dangers?
Okay, so the dangers of what we just said, that it's the mother of assimilation. That's what the Chazal say. And we have a real source for this in the Chazal. Last month, someone asked about touching before marriage. And we said that just don't do it. It's forbidden. So we have to say the same thing here in reference to this question, that to enter bad sites on the net is bad. It's forbidden. Don't do it. It's a nisayon. It's a trial. It's hard. But if God gives us hard trials, He gives us the power to be victorious. These trials are already the beginning of fighting against Armilus Rishia, the wicked Armilus.
Okay, do we have any questions from the women's section before we go on with the men? Just 1 second, please. far as it goes for you.
Hello. The rabbi asked said about the three levels of the complete of the Torah. That was parallel to Moshe. The complete of the nation. That's parallel to David.
No, of the land of Israel.
The land. Yeah. So I didn't understand. The first one was the complete of the Torah, and that also was David also because it was Shema Israel. So I didn't understood.
He explained that we gave two different models to explain the three levels. He said the first was the power of Moses in the Exodus and the splitting of the Red Sea and the Song of the Sea. And the power of David was Kriyat Shema, was the Shema Yisrael. And the power of Mashiach was the Shemona Esrei. Then we said gave another model. It doesn't contradict, they go together, but it's two different models. There's the three different completions. That the completion of the Torah is Moses fighting against all. And the completion of the land of Israel being the land of Israel, belonging to Israel, that's King David. We have to now try to meditate. How does that go together with Shema Yisrael? But it's just Pshat. We said that the Pshat in the Torah is that they were fighting over the ownership of the land. The Chazal say that he came out to profane the name of God at the time that we read Shema Yisrael. But the Pshat is that they were fighting over the land. And then in our generation, the Mashiach and our Milos is actually the fight over the people. The Jewish people, called Shleimut Haaretz, the completion of the people.
I wanted to ask concerning the two psukim, the first pasuk about Makkah, that the person is called a Nophel, and then the next pasuk speaks about Kilayim. You also have the concept of Moshiach being called a Nophel. Harachamon hu Yakim Lanu Sukkos David HaNopheles, and also one of the terms of Moshiach is called Bar Nafle, the fallen one. And how do we explain the two psukim, one right next to the other, the first one being referring to Moshiach?
Okay, that's a very good question. The question is that we said that in the Midrash, the faller is Amilus, the opponent of Moshiach. But Moshiach himself is also referred to by the same word. He's like a miscarriage that comes back to life. It is born and is not about to live and then is resurrected spontaneously. It's called Bar Nafla. So this is a classic example of the very same concept being positive or negative. It's like an electron and a positron, a particle and the antiparticle. Two opposite things. And now about Nofel, the word Nofel, in referring to this wicked Armilos, so there's a gematria that is given that he comes from the first murderer. We didn't talk about murder yet. The first murderer in the Torah is Cain and Nibal. Cain equals Nofel, 160. So this is what it says in Kabbalah, that this Amilos is actually a reincarnation of the bad part of Cain. But it's true that the very, very same word is used in reference to Mashiach, as you said. So you can either fall good or you can fall bad. You can fall on your head or fall... what? The second verse means the Mashiach will present the mixture, the Kilayim. It's very obvious.
Rabbi Shalom, my name is Chanoch. In the battle against the assimilation giant, we need to teach B'nai Noach, but yet we have resistance from many Jews and of course from non-Jews. So how do you recommend that we approach this, this part of the battleground?
Okay, so that's a very, very good question. Actually, this is the connection between what we explained last month and what we explained just now today. Last month we said that 1 out of 2 intermarried people, non-Jews, may very well have the potential to convert. And we have to try to encourage it. If it's a sincere convert like Ruth, we have to very, very encourage it. And that's where Mashiach comes from Ruth. So definitely part of fighting against assimilation is exactly this, teaching Torah to the non-Jewish world and trying to bring back as many sparks as we can. This is maybe the greatest weapon that we have in fighting against assimilation. And even after intermarriage, after the kilayim, the mixture in the vineyard takes place, then still don't give up hope. Because even after it takes place, as we said, there might be 50% potential of bringing back sparks. And maybe this is part of the divine providence that we cannot fathom, because it's so deep and so understandable. That Hashem works in His mysterious ways to bring back sparks by something just like Kilion and Machlon, that he intermarried, and Machlon's wife Ruth, she became a convert, as we explained last time.
Many non-Jews feel, though, that they need to work on their mitzvot, and teaching B'nai Noach is not a major responsibility for them.
Did everybody hear what you said? Repeat the question.
So the question was that many Jews feel...
Many, what did you say it again? Give him the microphone.
Thank you. I've spoken with many Jews who feel that it is not their role to teach B'nai Noach because they're very concerned and entwined in improving their own midot.
So a person that only thinks about himself, that's not Chassid. A Chassid thinks about other people, but even spreading the light to non-Jews. Definitely, there are always people that want to just protect themselves spiritually. But that's not the way to get out and to bring Mashiach. So we have to try. We call this a revolution. We call it the fourth revolution, the revolution of our generation, which is now to get out and to spread the light to the whole world.
So Leah from Israel asks, can the Rav give advice to a woman who wants to teach other women Torah?
The advice is to teach other women Torah. And obviously, in order to teach, you have to learn as much as you can. And the topic that you teach should either be about Shalom Bayit or be about prayer, topics which have to do with women, but it's all based upon very, very deep things in Chassidut, the deepest things. So you have to learn about it and teach it. And I bless every woman that gives herself over to teaching other women Torah.
So through Vismog in Los Angeles, we have another important question about living in Israel. And Abraham asks, if every Jew has a portion of land in Israel that's predestined, how does one find his portion of land? How does he buy it and live in it?
So, even though we believe in non-locality, still there are things that it's better that you do if you come here physically. So the first thing is to come here, and then by divine providence, Hashem will show you where your place is and where your shlichut is. Of course, everyone has a mission in life, and if at present your mission is to teach in your community, even abroad in Chutz La'aretz, so maybe the time is not yet ripe to come here. The Rebbe did not send just automatically everybody here. Because the first thing, once more, the battle of our generation, that's just, we said now, is assimilation. Assimilation is in America. Unfortunately, it's also here, but it's much more there. So if you're fighting assimilation there, so it's not 100%. It's a very, very personal thing whether you should get up and leave and come here. If you have no reason to be there, so definitely get up and leave and come here.